Welcome, I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher, from our BizVision studios in the UK. You're watching the BVTV network. As we achieve or move towards revival from the impact of the pandemic, many aspects of business will have changed forever. Some businesses will never recover, sadly, and those that do, I suggest, will endeavour to deliver excellence in customer service, as well as more professional management. They will know more intimately what their customer buys and when, especially at the point of purchase. Put it bluntly, for the future it will be who cares wins in the battle for customer spend. So how to know your customer better? Well, many businesses already have the system to do it, but they don't use it. And those that don't or don't have it, well, it's time to learn. My guest today has the answers for you. He's the Managing Director of EPoS Solution Providers, Langley Business Systems. Welcome, Richard Cox. Welcome, Richard.
Good morning, Malcolm, and thank you for inviting me on.
Great to talk to you. Richard, I'm delighted you're kindly guesting on our BVTV network, because what you do is so important, I believe, for the future of businesses in their customer relationships and in their profitability. In this BVTV talk show, I'll be chatting to Richard in three parts. First part, I'll talk to him about prudent and resilient use of an EPoS system, making it more efficient and effective. Part two, we'll move to talking about what challenges need to be overcome for the future, especially in the key sector of hospitality. And in part three, we'll talk more generally about other sectors. We'll talk about the need to understand customer buying behavior more closely and how an EPoS system can help you manage and market your business more proficiently and professionally. So Richard, though, before we get into our three-part chat, can you please briefly introduce yourself to my viewers and listeners about Langley Business Systems, what it does, and what you've been doing to help customers during the pandemic?
So I'm Richard Cox. I am the Managing Director of a family-run business called Langley Business Systems, which has been running now for over 37 years. We work with hospitality businesses to implement EPoS systems and payment solutions. We do that within multiple sectors, such as the QSR or quick service retail, F&B, food and beverage, garden centres and farm shops, and stadia. During the pandemic, we've been offering our customers training. So we've been, speaking to them with lots of training on how they can use their stock control, margin control, and most of the customer loyalty that we add within those EPoS systems. But we've also been developing our own online ordering platform as well, our click and collect service, incorporating our payment solutions. So we've been offering that whole end-to-end solution and service as well to our customers.
Brilliant. Now, Richard, let's kick off our chat in part one by talking about a business with an existing EPoS system. I'm sure you'll agree that for many businesses, they can't keep affording, or can they, new equipment. So what is the best way to be prudently resilient with what they've got whilst improving their efficiency and effectiveness? What should business owners be learning about EPoS?
Yes, Malcolm, I totally agree with you. For any business, certainly in the hospitality nowadays, when you say that they can't keep affording, to updating their POS, what we've been trying to do is to eradicate those capital upfront costs. We've been supplying full EPoS systems, and what I mean by full is the hardware, the touchscreens, the kitchen printers, the software services, and payment solutions, whatever that hospitality venue requires. When we've been doing that for, with one monthly fee, the huge benefit of this is that we've refreshed that tech, which in today's world does get, outdated very quickly. Every couple of years, the customer constantly benefits from the latest technological advances within the market, without having to write off their existing purchase or factor into their cash flow another capital outlay cost. But for businesses with existing POS, what we also try and do is we try to reuse that hardware wherever possible. We do that by, giving them the latest software on that hardware and giving them the benefits without having that extra cost implications up front. But the other thing as well, I think, is running software as a service. It's an interesting concept because years ago you used to purchase the software, and then by purchasing it, you would have to then request for things like upgrades, and upgrades to that software package would be at a cost. So running software as a subscription, the upgrades then are actually automatic. They just constantly get downloaded from the servers to the customers, and there's no cost as well to that. But I think that positives to be looked at really, than more than just money-taking devices, and security. I know they started out for security purposes, and that still does play a huge role in today's market space. But there's a few words I think we need to look out for. Things like integration and automation of a part of your business. In other words, once implemented, we need to make sure we're looking at that customer journey. We need to make sure the customer journey is easy and as seamless as possible. We need to get the tech working for staff to minimise human error, and actionable insights for business owners.
Yeah. I learned one gastropub in Manchester who was he's in an area where sort of the people who used to be called yuppies live, who never use their kitchens and that. And he taught his staff via the EPOS system to be able to recognize customers, regular customers, and they would input a code and everything like that. And, then he developed into a card system. His increase in return visits became absolutely enormous because people were welcomed.
Yeah, I totally agree. The systems these days are far more, aren't they, as I said, than money-taking devices. There are built-in loyalty and incentive schemes and systems within there. We can do that from loyalty cards, RFID cards, through to codes, as you say. We can integrate as well, into other loyalty platforms. As you've probably seen, there's so many of them out there, but one size doesn't fit all. But the big thing is the integration of what does suit your business from that platform and integrating it into the POS. But the recognising of that customer is essential. Recognising your customers, what their spends are, what their spend trends, what day they come into the business, what wine or beer that they drink, what meals that they like, and then also being able then to market to those customers, send those incentive emails, but the ones that are meaningful, with meaningful insights, not just an email that people will get and delete really.
Yeah. You can increase your sales so much by understanding the customer, can't you? And that knowledge that the EPOS can bring. Let's talk about hotels in the second part, but staying with it at the moment, if you recognise a customer coming back and they like a low-floored room and so on like that, it becomes quite important, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it does. The customer journey, especially going forward post-COVID, is going to be very, very important. I mean, you've only got to look at the people like Amazon, the market leaders, and how they interact with us really. And hospitality is no different. What we have to be doing is we have to be looking, organising. We have to be making sure the customer, we know them. We've got to treat them like a VIP, haven't we? And making sure that those offers and incentives are going out to them correctly, and we're not flooding them with things that they don't want to see.
Yeah, I just wish it was around so many earlier years. I'm looking at a vanity thing on the wall in front of me, where many years ago I'd left Thompson Holidays and worked into a travel agent, and we took that travel agent in Newcastle to #1 in the country for Thompson Holidays within 2 years, which is quite an achievement. But I spent hours just doing postcode analysis of where all the customers are coming from, so we could steer our advertising to that particular postcode area. Gosh, I just can remember how many hours I spent with pieces of paper where, with the EPOS system, it would have told me, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the analytical side of that nowadays, because all the information from spend to the customer and timestamps, so we have days, trends, times. The reporting side of this now, you're absolutely right. The time saving part of it is astronomical. We can literally just grab an EPOS system, run a report, and find out which customers like to come out on a Thursday night,
Yes.
which customers like to drink that bottle of red wine, or and have a steak. What we don't want to be doing is potentially sending out to those people that we have a fish night because they like coming out for the steak. So yeah, we can really personalise that with a lot of time elements with the analytics on the back office.
Yeah, and things like garden centres, being able to know which customers buy these plants at this time of year, and which customers, are into that at the other time of the year, and which ones buy Christmas gifts it's unbelievable information you can gain, isn't it? Now, before we move to part 2, though, I'd just like to remind viewers and listeners of your website URL, website address, which is well, you can see it, viewers, on the screen behind me. But let me spell it out for listeners. It's langleybusinesssystems.co.uk, and Langley is spelled Langley, langleybusinesssystems.co.uk. Richard, time for part 2, and a focus on my sector experience of 40 years within hospitality, travel and leisure. And I'm only 35. Hospitality has been hard hit with COVID, and it'll continue to do so for some time, in my mind. Ways of working have had to change, and customers have got new demands. Also, legislation is changing, such as allergens and calories and all those sort of things. Methods of payment has changed. I was reading today that they're talking about the cashless card going up to £100 of ability. So cashless will become even more important. What does a business owner need to know and be thinking? And let's stay within hospitality at this moment in time. Be to know and be thinking, and how do you help them? And what's your thoughts if a business doesn't take action?
I think the first thing that we do need to think here is that, and consider, is that all businesses are not the same. So let's just take, as you say, the F&B sector and a wet-led traditional pub or bar. Single people going out to that pub for a casual pint, socialising and interacting. They're now sitting on their own on a table. It seems very unfriendly. So I think the demands for the wet-led establishments would mean, they would need to see the demise of restrictions from post-COVID. Whereas the food-led establishments, I think they can, endure the restrictions as table service seems to be becoming more of the norm. But as you say, payments have most certainly been escalated 3 to 5 years in advance, with cash becoming a thing of the past. There certainly, I think, will still be a place for cash, but surely the percentage split now, is too great to sway back in cash's favour. But I think business owners certainly need to embrace the benefits of a cashless society, but almost certainly also embrace the security and compliance side, because cyber theft certainly is going to be on the increase as well. Business owners, they certainly, I think that, they have to know their numbers to survive and thrive. They have to get on board with technology to do that and help them from a time point of view. The new post-world COVID, they'll need to know this stock, margin control, cash flow. They need to get to make sure that the cash is not tied up in stock that isn't being sold. Maximise those margins. And as we were just saying, customer loyalty and marketing, will be imperative, to make sure that we're targeting the right people with the right messages.
Yeah, I've developed over the years a whole series of KPIs, key performance indicators, for all range of hospitality and leisure businesses. And when I ask providers, what about this, what about that, they haven't got a clue, but the information is there, and that's the frustrating thing about it, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, all the information is there. It's like anything, with information. We have to look at it. We have to use it. We have to set our own KPIs with it, which we can do. but the information is there. With the advent now with technology, portals, so cloud-based systems, the EPOS systems, also post the information without you even knowing it, seamlessly real time. So you're not having to manually collect that information anymore either. It is all there for you on the go. You with a web browser, you can actually get that information on holiday, whether you want to do that or not, I don't know. But you could grab that from anywhere in the world. But the insights are there, and yes, we've got to look at them and we've got to manage them.
Can I just throw you a quick curveball, Richard? One of the most popular downloads that managers of pubs and restaurants in particular take from me is my 99 ways they cheat on you, which is how to stop barmen cheating on you and stealing from the business. I'm sure that an EBoss can help in that. You just plug in the ways that they do it,
Yeah, that is an age-old problem, isn't it? I mean, as I was saying, one of the things, though, with a cashless society coming up to the fore, it is stopping or certainly slowing that down as well. Obviously, there are new crimes being committed with cybersecurity, but we do need to get more intelligent on that as well. But yes, an EPOS system certainly can track that. Certainly we can track that stock. If it's going missing, we can track that values of money that should be in that register, that EPOS system. We can track whether 4 pints are going across the bar, but only a Coke is being rung into the till. In many ways through CCTV integration and what's called journal overlay for that as well. But also we can do this with alerts. We're not just expecting the owners to actually interrogate these reams and reams of this data. We can set alerts and preferences and text messages for the users to help them as well.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, Richard, let's move to part 3, making it work better to gain more customer and revenue. Now, my experience, as we've just been discussing, is that the businesses that I've met on my coaching over the many years don't maximize the benefits of EPOS. Most just thinking it's a fancy till. And once the boss thinks that, it passes down to the staff as well. And, they'll not input correctly. But that's not the case, is it? Properly used, an EPOS system can do for a business in the areas of productivity, profitability, and people. For example, it can help reduce wastage, reduce staffing costs, even reduce accountancy costs. Now, I'm talking general here, not just hospitality. So take it on from there, please.
Well, Malcolm, I'm going to get a little bit techie on you here because I sat in a fabulous presentation yesterday called The New Era of EPOS, or Next Gen Tech for Hospitality. And the whole purpose of what we're trying to achieve is automation, actionable insights, and integration. And we're doing this through one platform. So point of sale, payments, integration into the payments and reservations. You're going to get smart, intelligent, helpful insights, such as purchasing optimizations, to tell us what we should be buying, but also allowing human interaction with that. Raising issues or dealing with potential problems that arise, such as running out of stock, and not allowing that to happen. Giving customers multiple ordering platforms. This is important nowadays. Depending on your establishment, you could be self-ordering or ordering from your own table. You could have waiter or waitress ordering from electronic order pads with integrated payments. You could have kiosk ordering, web ordering, app ordering, or as we do now and see this more in hospitality with click and collect and delivery, aggregators. You could be ordering through aggregators and require these to be integrated into EPOS for full control of the revenues that you're taking. But as you said as well, staff scheduling, optimizing those labour costs and reducing human error with integration as well. Integration into payments for human error will stop double key entry and wrong entry values, and also capturing events as well as they occur. So as you rightly said there, like wastage, this will eliminate paper trails and labour time. Predictive analytics, I think this will be huge. Looking at potential sales forecasting, so we can actually look at our stock control. What is it that we do need to actually purchase, so we're not overstocking? And what if we do change our supplier? How will that affect? What if we change that recipe? How will that maximise, or will it maximise our bottom line? But not compromising as well on quality. Self-driving technology, that learns and takes action in real time for you with that human interaction. But I think most of all, the interaction with our customers, the interaction with them when they're not in our venues is key. How do we market to them? How do we get that message out to them that's right, by tailoring a well-aligned loyalty experience, offering incentives based on their preferences through their purchase history, and doing it, with a press of a button on the EPoS.
Yeah. It is fascinating, isn't it? Once you start to understand the opportunity of inspection and interrogation of the numbers and the figures that are around there. I was working with one hotel in South Staffordshire, a very well-known hotel, and his utility bills came out at £30,000, which phenomenal compared to the fact that was approximately the profit he was making. And I compared that, benchmarked that with a similar hotel who were over 10,000, and we found that basically that 20,000 was because the lights were being left on all night and in the ballroom or whatever it may. And he said to the night manager, well, why are they left on? He said, I never go there. So he suddenly had the figures to interrogate. And that's it. The skill to interrogation, though, it's all right having the information. It's a skill of interrogation, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is. And we try and help out there as well with our customer success team when we are implementing these systems. What are the things that you can interrogate, from wet sales to dry sales, running through then to department totals. So, for example, like your draft, what is your overall margin on all of your draft products? Ultimately, if that margin then is being reduced, we can then interrogate to an individual product line and then actually look at those within that department and actually see if there's a specific line that's bringing that margin down. Now, as you rightly say, what are we going to do at that point? Well, we are finding that product, but once we've found it and interrogated it, the decision is to make, do we buy better, or do we have to accept that product is wanted by our customers, and it is bringing our margin down. But as long as we know this, as a business owners, we're able to manage that process. I think that's the key.
Yeah. And I want to finish this part with just a little warning to viewers and listeners that people like HMRC, Majesty's Revenue and Customs, who I presented events for over 10 years, they're watching, and their technology is becoming more and more sophisticated, and they can know if you're not performing as you should do. And that's when you start to get an investigation by them. And you do not want one of those. They're called knee cases. So use a good system so that you are on top, being seen to be professional and doing things correctly and legally. The exciting thing that's happening in our altered world is that businesses are becoming even more customer focused and even more customer caring. But to achieve this, businesses need to be both understanding their customers' buying behavior and how their business can meet customer needs. EPoS is one clear way. Many thanks to Richard Cox from Langley Business Systems for a very informative interview. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks, Malcolm. Thank you.